We're live. That was kind of a weird start, at least on our end. It looked weird. There was no numbers counting us down. We were just all of a sudden there and then gone, and then now we're back.
We don't know whether we've been here the whole time or not. But anyways, welcome everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy long weekend to all of our friends south of the border to us. Hope you guys are all having a great long weekend and probably not watching us live, but catching us up in replay or something and having a great time. But anyways, we are here. It is Sunday afternoon.
And today we are going to do a little bit of a Q&A. Ask us anything. We're even going to ask you some things because we have questions too. So let's kind of learn from each other today. Well, that worked. That's good. Some of the technology is cooperating today.
Well, hello. We are Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Canucks.
Yes, and this is our Sunday afternoon live almost every Sunday at 2 o'clock. In the summer times, we go every other week until we get back into September. So you've caught us on the on week. Mm-hmm. We'll be off next week and then back the week after that. Or weekend, I guess I should say. Mm-hmm. These summer weekends can get busy. So if you miss us and you're busy like we are all the time these days, then catch us on replay on YouTube, or you can catch us as a Spotify or Apple Music podcast as well.
There you go.
Those are all the words that came out.
We're all over the place.
But yeah, we've had a hot start to the weekend, and now we're having a wet end to the weekend in our place here.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. For sure. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend and is still enjoying their weekend wherever they are and whatever type of weather you're experiencing. But yes, it was so hot here yesterday, which, I mean, we shouldn't complain about it because we get so much snow that I complain about the cold. But it was so hot that we had to duck in to the air condition for a little reprieve from how hot it was outside. So anyways. Yeah,
for us it's hot when it gets over 30 Celsius, which is approaching 90 Fahrenheit. But for a lot of places in North America this summer, it's been hotter than that by a long way. So yes, we shouldn't complain too much. So.
No, we will not. We will not, because before we know it, we'll be having white stuff falling from the sky again. So Enjoy every last minute of it.
You didn't introduce Bruno.
I did not introduce Bruno. This is Bruno. He's our sidekick.
He's become a regular guest on the show.
He used to often just sit on the little chair next to me off camera and be quite happy with that. And then he started wanting to get involved and sitting on my lap. And now this time, as soon as we walk into this room, he just immediately barks to get on my lap before we even go live. So he's our old man. And because he's so old, he's a little bit spoiled right now.
Yeah. Okay. We have a little bit of housekeeping to do.
Oh.
Since it is the weekend, and that's when you do your housekeeping, isn't it?
Not anymore, since I'm retired.
Not you?
Used to, work in the school Monday to Friday, and Saturday morning was go from top to bottom with the house cleaning. But nope, now I can do it when you're at work and you're not in my way. Although then he decides this week I was out doing all the floors and I had all the furniture moved because I'm vacuuming and mopping and doing everything, and he decides to come home from work early as I've got everything all torn apart. So even that's a challenge with you now.
Probably what it's like most days I'm out here. You just rip the place apart and have a party, and then you put it back together when I come home.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
No.
Okay, a couple of things I want to cover real fast. Our recent content, in case you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Since the last time we did a live, which was a couple of weeks ago, there's quite a few videos that come out. Almost all of them. I think all of them have been Spain.
Oh.
Everything from Cadiz to Malaga to Palma. I think those are all out right now. And then we're going to have Barcelona come out this week.
Okay.
So we have Barcelona coming out. And then after Barcelona, we are in Cannes. And then after that, we're going to flow into Italy. So a couple of those are going to be coming out before our next live, which is 2 weeks away. That's the updates. Do you have any updates?
I have no updates.
No updates? You have no plans?
I'm just happily enjoying my leisurely summertime. I'm not the update person like you are.
Update person.
I have updates for people joining us on group cruises that we've been planning, but
group cruise. This is a group cruise update time.
Oh, there you go.
Do you want to say yours or me say mine?
You can go with yours. Yeah.
Mine is that, first of all, we have been actually still squeezing people. Squeezing people on the Volendam, because I think most cabins on the public website are sold out, but we still have some group space available.
We were kind of surprised, to be quite honest. We received an email from Holland America while we were in Europe, basically saying that this ship is selling out faster than we anticipated. So we will be taking away some of your group space. And then when we got home and we had to we had a few people that had messaged us while we were gone, and we're catching up on bookings, and we were able to book people and book them in rooms that you couldn't get to the public because we had reserved spaces for it. So we're feeling a little privileged.
Yeah, and
thank you, Holland America.
At a lower cost because we had locked in before they had sold out the ship. So we still have a very few, like I'm talking like maybe 2 or 3 of the group cabins left.
Yeah, and most of them now, I think that what we've got left are pretty much just guaranteed cabins, not even.
Yeah, I think a lot of except for the interior and a couple Ocean View. Yeah, there's mostly guarantee. Even those are guaranteed. Anything above deck 2 is guaranteed right now. So yeah, but I guess we're saying this because we still have a few that we protected through the group's process.
Yeah,
so
probably for the next couple of weeks we'll be able to keep them, but I don't think by the end of August we'll be able to.
So if you had an inkling to do Eastern Canada, like we've been talking about here on the Volendam, September of next year,
September 1st,
let us
2026.
The ship is going to sell out. So yeah, definitely let us know if you're...
All Canada ports going to Newfoundland and back from Montreal.
Kind of.
Well, there is
we go to France.
Yeah.
We jump across the Atlantic, we go to France and come back. That's all.
No.
St. Pierre-Miquelon.
St. Pierre-Miquelon. Yes.
So, and the other group cruise update is that the Caribbean Princess, because they changed the itinerary, we're not going technically through a lock in Panama. We're going into kind of Panama, but not going through the locks.
Right.
That they're just kind of doing a U-turn or something and coming back out. They've been reducing the price. So if you want to go on the Caribbean Princess with us in this coming January, we're starting to fill up pretty good as well, and we've been planning
decent prices right now for it.
Yeah, excursions we're planning. The prices have come down quite a bit. So if you're interested, let us know, and we'll see if we can get you on that one as well.
Yeah.
So I think we've got we're approaching 30 some odd people on that one right now.
Yeah.
So
high 30s. Yeah, 38 I think we're at.
So so that's a group cruise update. We're still figuring out when we're going to open up the next group cruise in late January, early February 27. We'd announced it was Norwegian in Tampa. We're still finalizing whether or not that's going to be a for sure. So don't book hotels or flights yet, but just wait until we know for sure, but we're almost there.
Yes.
We've been bouncing around how to do it, but that's the group cruise update. You can do yours now.
Well, and the only thing I would say to that is if you're looking for more detailed information, check out our website and you'll see Jerry's got all the stuff posted for that. And the only other thing I was going to say about that was that I am at the part where we're trying to plan and get things organized for the Caribbean Princess, and we will be doing 2 cruising Canucks excursions that you can book with us if you choose to do them with us, and of course all the other events that we typically do during a group cruise, and we're just trying to get that all organized and having fun trying to figure that all out now with Princess.
And that made me think of something else. I can't remember what it was now. I don't know. Oh, I was just going to say the Caribbean Princess. You call it the Caribbean Princess. It's the same ship.
I know.
It is. Probably, I would argue, probably one of the best princess ships there is in the entire fleet. This has got a beautiful number of pools for cruising in the Caribbean. So I'm giving my little promotion for I love this ship. Is one of my favorite ships I've ever been on.
It is his favorite ship. He's been saying that for years.
But
it's so funny because I wonder if he'll still feel that way after when you get back on. Because remember, I don't know, a few times we've gone on ships and we're like, oh, this is the best. And we've gone back a second time and we're like, oh, but this other one was a little bit better. So we'll see if your opinion stays the same after it's been years. Sorry, I'm just fixing your collar here.
I think because it's going to be a group of people that we're going to have a great time with, it'll be even better than the first time.
Well, I agree with you. I think that will be. And that's part of the reason why we picked this cruise was like what you said, that there's so many pools and lots of deck space, and we never felt like it was overcrowded when we were on it before. So we're looking forward to having a group of people and multiple pools and places to hang out. So, yeah.
So that's the group cruise update stuff. And what do I have next here? I guess I have the trivia question of the week.
Ooh, I didn't know we were doing that.
Yeah, we're doing a trivia question. See if you get this one, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The mayor of Nice, France, this week, his name, I believe, is Christian Estrosi. He went out to the Voyager of the Seas when it arrived in port to tell them that the city had just passed a new law that the ships of his size were not allowed at the port anymore. And this happened 3 days ago. So just a few days ago this happened. And I want you to figure out, what do you think the response was to the captain from the captain towards the mayor that was trying to let him know about the news and tell him that his ship needs to, pick up anchor and get out of here.
Oh, wow.
So
seriously,
I'll give you options though. This is multiple choice for you. So you got 4 options to choose from. So did the captain refuse to let him board? Did the captain invite him on board to discuss it? Did the captain raise anchor and sail away? Or did the captain ignore him and just the ship stayed all day long and ignored him?
Oh. Oh, wow.
What do you think? We've already got Baylor Girl says ignored him. Kat says refused boarding. Refused.
Oh, wow.
What do you think?
Well, I guess I'm going to go with majority, but I'm a little shocked by that, to be quite honest. But wow. They wouldn't let him on. He was ignored.
Baylor Girl says A and D. Ignored him. Refused to let him board.
Wow. They ignored him and they stayed on all day and they didn't let him board. Wow.
What do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with that.
You're going with majority?
I'm going with the majority here. I didn't hear about this, but go for it.
And the answer is, bam. The people that said A and D are right.
Wow.
They A, refused to let him board, and they ignored him, and they just stayed all day long. I think they stayed for like 12 or 13 hours and just basically pretended that he didn't show up, like he wasn't there. So there you go. So that's very interesting. Here's a port that actually tries to pass a law to keep ships of that size there. They just came anyways. They claim that they had permission from the port authorities that manage ports, I guess, in France, and that they were going to ignore the local mayor, that he had no standing in the situation.
Yep. It would be a maritime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go. What do you think of that?
Well, that would be
this is
like, I don't know that I'd want to be a passenger going to a town that didn't want me there. That would be my thing. That's where my head goes, is like, how awkward would I feel if I knew this was going on and then I got off and I'm spending my day in Nice and was there protests? I don't know. But like, people don't want you there. I don't want to be a tourist in a place where I'm not welcome. That would be feel really awkward. And I know that that's happening around the world, that there are places where they're sort of upset about the amount of people coming in on cruise ships. So I wouldn't want to be a part of it. That's where my head goes.
My brain kind of went to the fact that, like, the audacity of Royal Caribbean, which kind of started the whole mega ship thing. That was the beginning. They were the ones that went with big ones to say, we're coming anyways. We'll find whatever way we need, their loophole to get around your rules, and we're going to show up whether you like it or not. That's nerve, and that's heading for a bigger problem as the pressure cooker builds in the cruise industry with these issues.
Yeah, obviously PR-wise, it doesn't look good. But the other thing that I'm thinking is, from the captain's perspective, if he's got all these people that have planned a day there, people have already booked excursions, they have plans made, you know what I mean? It's with 3 days notice, they passed the law and they're enforcing it. Like, generally, if there's a change, like, wasn't it Juno where they banned cruise ships one day a week? Or they're trying to. But, usually they give a year's notice that this is what it's going to be like for the next cruising season. It's one thing for it to pass something and then 3 days later expect people who have probably booked excursions 6 months or a year prior. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just happy I wasn't a part of it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pushback, and especially the Mediterranean in the last few weeks, with people with tourism in general and the over tourism. So, and when the mega ships are showing up, it's just becoming a red flag. So,
I think they should have been more notice. Yeah, I agree with what Peggy's saying. More notice.
They couldn't really give more notice because the law just kind of took effect when they passed it. But
it shouldn't have taken effect right away. It should have been like at least 90 days. This is going to come into effect or something like that, so that it would give cruise ships time to revamp their itinerary. And
the videos I saw online were actually quite interesting. You should actually go see it if you want, because the mayor is literally out there on a police boat, pretty well banging the side of the ship and saying, let me in. I need to serve you papers to say that you're illegally parked here and get out of here.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't just a media thing. It was like an in-person type of confrontation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow, you really decided to hit a hot topic today, didn't you?
Right there. Let's talk about that the whole show.
Nope. Moving on.
Moving on.
This is the wrong channel for that. We're not experts, and I don't want to get into any of that.
Legal experts.
Yeah.
Cruise experts on law.
Yeah.
Question or comment of the week.
Okay.
And that is that it says, I have to say I absolutely love that you're now displaying banners with prices for food, shopping, etc., with a little cash register ching that accompanies the information.
I don't know, I forget who it is that said this, but it's funny because I read this one and I laughed because the comment before it was somebody telling me how much they hated it and that we were, that noise sound, the ching ching was distracting and awful. And then we got someone. So that's what it's like when you have a YouTube channel, everybody that doesn't know is 99% of the time we get wonderful comments. But anyway, sometimes they're quite differing. But yes, we had a lot of people ask us to do that. And so we decided to give it a try. And so we're going to consciously sort of make a better effort of keeping track of what we pay for everything along our adventures and excursions and just, popping in here or there and getting a drink somewhere or whatever, and just letting people know what it sort of are the added expenses after paying for your ticket to get on the cruise ship.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're still doing it in Barcelona. We did a lot of paying for stuff between taxis and tours we did and food we ate. So Barcelona is going to come out this week and you'll see a whole bunch more ching. So we don't have to keep the noise if it's annoying.
Yeah. There you go.
So that is the comment of the week, and I think that was that. So now we're into the Q&A.
All right.
So now I guess we'll go back to the comment section. We'll start scrolling through. So ask us anything, whatever you want. Do I wear pants when I vlog? Anything's up for grabs. And does Bruno wear pants when he vlogs? We won't ask you that. It's not a very nice question for a lady.
I very rarely wear pants when I vlog. It's very rare.
So you're saying
he's taking me somewhere cold if I have to have a pair of pants on.
You're saying you never wear the pants in the family then?
Oh, I always wear the pants in the family. That's not true. It really isn't. A lot of people think I am, loud and bossy, but he's the one that sort of makes the decision. You tell me that all the time. But he's the one that makes the decisions 99% of the time when it comes to where our next cruise is and what we're doing and that sort of thing. And I'm like, sure. Every now and then I went, no, absolutely not, when he has something really crazy. But for the most part, I'm pretty accommodating with that.
So I can call you loud and bossy now? Is that what we've heard?
No, you have called me loud and bossy. You're not allowed.
It's not appropriate.
Right. Okay. It is inappropriate to call your spouse loud and bossy.
I'm not sure I've called you that.
Okay. Moving on, because this might deteriorate fast.
The very first comment put in at 10 o'clock this morning, I believe you said.
Oh, yes.
Was Greg's comment, and he had said, hi from Northern California. They're planning a Mediterranean cruise next year, and we need your advice on a hotel in Rome. And is this the best way to get to Civitavecchia from the hotel? Favorite
cruise. Well, he had a lot of questions there.
Places to stay in Rome. We thought we had a really good place that we stayed the first time.
Yes.
Then they jacked the prices because I think we told everybody and everybody started booking it.
Yeah, so Best Western Universal was where we stayed before and absolutely loved it. And we know some of our patron members have gone and stayed there and they've had wonderful experiences too. And so when we just went back to Rome this spring, we went to book that exact same hotel. And it was out of our price budget as now. So we stayed at a different place, and we will be releasing that vlog near the end. And we did a room tour because we thought it warranted a room tour. It was a little bit further removed than some of the more expensive hotels, but it was still within walking distance.
Still 10 minutes to the Colosseum type of.
And the metro was right outside the door of the hotel, which was convenient if you wanted to do that.
I can't even tell you the name of it because I can't remember right now, but it's definitely coming up in
Suites, DVM Suites.
Yeah, it was like some acronym and then the word Suites, DVM Suites or something like that.
It was.
But it was small and quaint, and the room was really nice, fantastic location.
And I think what made this stay, and this is what made me book the hotel when I was researching, was the front desk manager. That it's a very small operation, so it's just him you're dealing with. And his communication is wonderful, whether that's prior to getting there and putting in requests or once you get there. He was so helpful in giving us tips and hints of where to go and how to get places. And so much so that he gave us his WhatsApp number so that we could communicate back and forth if we had issues. It kind of felt like you were staying at your Italian friend's Airbnb type thing, but it is a hotel. So anyways, we will sort of include that in our video a little bit more.
The only catch, and you'll have to watch the video to see what I mean, is you don't even know it's a hotel and you don't know how to get to the hotel, even if you're standing at the address of the hotel. And
that was a little tricky, but we will explain it to everybody.
You have to see it to understand it. So that would be, I guess, our latest recommendation to Rome is to stay somewhere like that.
Yes.
I would avoid any of the places that are like right down at like
Trevi Fountain area.
Like I just think you're going to get a lot of money for something that's not good value. It's going to be busy and crazy. So like stay a little farther out, more towards the main train station.
But that also depends on your mobility.
Yep.
You have to be able to walk, which we were fortunate enough that we were able to do the 30,000 steps that we did. So if that's not your thing, right?
Yeah. And the next part of his question then to that point about the train station. So Civitavecchia from Rome, it is a pretty good haul. We've done it a couple of different ways now. In fact, we've done it 3 ways. I think we've had the cruise line do something for us one time.
Mm-hmm.
We had we've done the train, I think, twice now, once visiting Rome and once going to the cruise port. Mm-hmm. And we've also done a private car. I would say when you're traveling with luggage that I would arrange a private car for it. I mean, it's going to cost you way more than a train. Train is definitely the most inexpensive way, but it's a lot of hauling. And our problem when you were doing it with the train was once we got to the train station, you still had to get to the cruise terminal. And it was very, very hard and a very long wait for the shuttle that would bring us to the cruise port. So economically speaking, the train is your best bet. Convenience, safety, and all of the rest, I would hire a private car service. I'm trying to remember how much a private car service was. It was around, was it €100?
Yeah, I'm trying. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't off the top of my head tell you. But you're going to pay considerably more. But it's kind of worth it.
Like the train fare is going to be like almost a tenth of the private car. Like it's that much of a saving. So if you don't mind, but you have to remember hauling your suitcase.
And if you're just traveling with carry-ons, then it's probably not a big deal at all.
Yeah, but trying to pull a big suitcase with wheels through the streets of Rome is very, very difficult.
It's all cobblestone.
And then also, like you said, getting from the train station to the ship can be more of a challenge than it should be because taxis won't even take you there because it's such a short run. They refuse to, but it's too long a run to walk, in our opinion. Yeah. People do it, but it looks very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So yeah, private car would be your easiest. Train would be your cheapest. Mm-hmm. And you could raise it to the cruise ship as well, but that'll be convenient and expensive.
But that's only if you're going to the airport and back. They won't be bringing you to hotels.
So and then the favorite cruise itinerary. That's his last part of his question.
I don't know.
You don't know.
That's such a big question for me. There's so many. I mean, I absolutely love cruising in Europe, but also I'm a snorkeler and happy to be with my my body in the ocean. So anytime I can get my feet wet in the ocean, I'm in my happy place. So Caribbean's still one of my favorite places to go.
I would have to say Northern Europe, British Isles. Absolutely love that area. The ports are less tourist crazy as they are in the Mediterranean. Mm-hmm. The people are so friendly. The weather can be a little more comfortable in the summertime than like the heat of the Mediterranean that I'm not a big fan of. Right. And I guess as a second place, since you gave a couple options there, my second place would be Eastern Canada.
Yeah, I was just going to say that too. I felt like I should have added that in there.
So, so that's the first question.
So many nice places.
Okay, where were we with questions there at the bottom? Do you have one? I'm trying to see, where did we leave off?
I'm trying to get there too.
You're trying to get there too?
It was after Scott's comments.
There's Scott.
Sorry, refused. Guys. This gets a little, there we go. Question, Glenn, 2:30.
I don't have timestamps. Oh. Glenn who?
Camp.
Okay, I'll look for you start talking about it.
Says, what should we see in St. John's? We are going on the Regent Mariner this week from New York. Is it St. John's, Newfoundland, or St. John, New Brunswick is the big question, I guess I should clarify. Well, but St. John's, Newfoundland is... I
think he said St. John's. So there's no S there. So I'm assuming that means New Brunswick?
Well, that's what it means, but a lot of people get that mistaken and don't realize that there's two. So there's one in New Brunswick and one in Newfoundland. And in Newfoundland, it's St. John's with an S, and in New Brunswick, it's St. John.
Well, we'll assume he got it right.
Okay.
So that'd be New Brunswick.
Okay.
And I don't know, we were there for a day. We did a walk around, but I wouldn't put it at the top of my list of things that I like to do. Mm-hmm. It was okay. It was a cute little spot, but there was never really anything that kind of blew you out of the,
But what most people do, and we didn't do because we had a bad weather day and the timeline was there, was most people that go to St. John, New Brunswick, go to the Bay of Fundy, and they say that that's where you should be going. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that for sure. We thought about renting a car and doing that, but just because of the timing and the way it all worked out, we didn't do that, and the weather wasn't the greatest, so we decided not to. So yeah, that's a St. John. Then you can throw in St. John's. What would you do? We haven't ever cruised there, so
We've never cruised there, but we've been there quite a bit. We have family there, and we love St. John's. But anyways, there's so many things you can do. But I mean, Signal Hill is probably the most landmark part that I think you should make the effort to go to if you've never been to St. John's, Newfoundland before. And the other thing is, take a walk into the downtown area. It's beautiful there too. Lovely shops, great restaurants, some wonderful seafood. George Street is famous for all their pubs and locations there. What would you recommend?
Signal Hill, you go out to Kitty Vitty, beautiful little spot there. Beautiful. Yeah, and I would say for sure one around St. John, see kind of Jelly Bean Road type of thing with all the different colored houses. And doing that, you can get the George Street, which is a famous street with pubs and seafood and everything else. It's kind of the party spot in St. John's. You can also get a little bit farther out of town and go down to, what's the other lighthouse where the old military, the hiking trails are we went to...
not Fairyland, Cape Spear.
Yeah, the Cape Spear you can go to. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff you could do all the way around there for sure. And a lot of it you could probably kind of explore and do somewhat on your own without having to pay for an excursion.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bruce is making a great comment. If you've never been to St. John's, Newfoundland before, if this is your first time going to Newfoundland, you have to get screeched in. Oh, yeah. So that's something you need to do.
So you can do that on George Street.
And if you don't know what that is, it is a welcome to Newfoundland. Anybody, we call them the mainlanders, that haven't been to Newfoundland before, you have to become a true Newfie while you're visiting and have a shot of Newfoundland rum. And there's a whole little ceremony to go along with that. Yeah. And most of the bars and restaurants will do that for you.
And the other thing that I could suggest to you, maybe you think about getting screeched in, is whale watching can be a pretty interesting thing there. You can see just as spectacular whale watching there as you can in Alaska. And while you're doing the whale watching, they often screech people in on the boat, which is a really great way to do it. So I think that's even a more comprehensive way of getting screeched in than at the bars.
There you go. Hopefully that answers your question.
So there's the two St. John answers.
That's what we've got. And Nicole is asking, there's still room on the Zooter Dam, are they only inside and outside cabins? Are they comfy? So we haven't been on the Zooter Dam, so I guess that might be maybe Stephen answered. Yeah, it looks like he did. Sorry, I'm looking down. Yeah, he did.
There you go. Yeah, some of on the older ships I find on Holland America that some of the interior cabins are quite large. In fact, that's what we've booked for the Volendam for the group cruise, because they are pretty spacious compared to a lot of other ships now, the newer ships.
We find the older the cruise ship, the larger the interior cabins are. And so like when we were on the Volendam, which was an older cruise ship, we had a sofa in our room and, a coffee table and it was a very spacious, well, I guess we didn't have an interior. We had a ocean view or promenade view room then.
So trekking with Deb and Mike.
How do we find your cruises?
How do we find it? How do you find your cruises?
That's funny.
That's funny. You just go where I say? With those pants you got on?
That's right.
How do we find our cruises? So I would say...
I think they might be asking, how do they find our group
well,
cruises?
In case you're asking about how do you find our group cruises, then go to cruisingcanucks.com and look at the top. There's a menu item there about group cruises, and you can see them. We haven't updated the site lately for our latest videos, but the group cruise information is all there with how to contact us, that we book the cruise directly through to the cruise line. It's all taken care of, and they get to be part of the group. And that's the only way to join the group on the ship, is to be part of us doing the booking, because that puts us into the group category with the cruise line, so we can coordinate and make everything up. Arrange everything with the cruise ship. So we tried it. Group space. Yeah, we tried it once before without doing it as an official group, and it was just a real mess trying to coordinate it with the cruise line. So we do it as an official group with the cruise line now. Works out.
But if you're asking how do we pick
ours?
Then you can. That's a whole totally different answer.
That's a yeah. So I use a website that is very helpful. It's very complex in a way. I don't want to scare you off, but it's complex in a good way. It's kind of like a site that has filters. Like if you're looking to buy a house or buy a car, you put your preferences in and then it helps you find cruise. It's called Cruise Plum. So I'll say, okay, I'm looking for a cruise in the month of June. And I want to go on I can even do the detail of I want to be on a cruise ship less than 3,000 people. It'll even find me only ships less than 3,000. I'll say that only price me inside cabins, or only price me anything on the ship. I only want to go to this part of the world. I want it to be this long, the cruise length. You can put in anything. Like the parameters are amazing. You can even put in cruise lines I don't want you to show me. So if there's some lines that you've written off that you don't want to cruise on, you can do that too, Carnival. And then it has all these options, and then it'll give you a whole bunch of cruises, and then you can kind of pick and choose. And it'll sort it by price per day. So you see if you're getting good value per day. It'll price it per cabin for the whole cruise. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways. It'll even factor in if you've got cruise credits because you're a shareholder. It'll even calculate some of that stuff in there. So cruiseplum.com. We don't own shares in it. We don't get anything for promoting it, but
we just use it as a tool and then book it separately.
So then we book directly through to the cruise lines, and we book anything through us. As we do it as a travel agency now, but we book directly. Even before we had a travel agency, we would always book with the cruise line, because just like when you book hotels and airports and everything else, if you're dealing directly with the actual company you're going to be traveling with, then they're a lot more flexible if things come up that you need changes or corrections and that type of stuff. So
there you go.
Hopefully that answers the question.
All right, and we're moving on to Kate. Just a few down there.
Okay.
There you go. You just went up. Oh, sorry.
Cat.
Yeah. So if someone puts together a group, better to have a travel agent do it or to book it with the cruise line directly? Is their question.
Well, those two are both good options. You can do it either way. If you have the cruise line do it, I'm not sure if they'll actually do it. They will create a group for you, but you're going to have kind of a lead person that's the contact that kind of acts as like a travel agent that coordinates everything for the group.
It depends on what your group looks like and whether you want group activities and amenities and stuff like that. When you book a group, one of the reasons why we are booking groups now is so that they will allow us to have space to do group activities together. So, when we just got off of our last group cruise on the New Dom, once we got everybody booked, then you reach out to group services with that cruise line and start that sort of process. So there's a different person that you would book the cruise with and the different person that you would organize your group with.
Exactly. And the benefits too with booking a group event is that sometimes there's an opportunity to get a discount for people that are all booking as a group. There's also opportunities to get other perks like, a cocktail party on board. You might be able to get, chocolate strawberries or a bottle of wine to each cabin. So there's options in there when you start looking into it to do a group.
And it definitely changes and varies depending on the cruise line and depending on the size of your group.
Yeah. But really, there's no difference in having a travel agent do it or you do it yourself through the cruise. So if you don't want to do all the work and you want a travel agent to, they will gladly do it. And it won't cost you anything more for that group through a travel agent than it would doing it yourself.
Right.
So I know a lot of people are think that travel agents, when you use them, it costs you more than booking directly with the cruise line because you're bypassing that person. But there really there's no difference in price between the two. So
there you go.
Caribbean. What's Scott's comment? He says Caribbean Princess is one of the best.
One of the best.
I'd put that one on there for sure.
Yeah.
And
I'm just trying to find questions here.
Try to find a question. Oh, I have to wait to go back to all the trivia questions here. I'm going down. Don't want to visit the Porsches. Don't go to the ship. I'm almost there. Have you found one yet? You have to keep hunting. I see comments saying that you are not loud and bossy. The Hadley Coles say that you are not loud, but then they put laughy faces after. So does that mean they're being sarcastic?
I might just be bossy, not the loud part.
She's just bossy, right?
Scott has a question.
Okay.
From Matt. He says, "Would you consider an expedition cruise to the Antarctica?" Would you?
It's been something that's been kicked around multiple times over our cruising career.
I would do it just to see penguins.
Yeah,
I am. It's funny because I'm the one that said I love to be in the ocean and the salt water and all of that and the heat and the Caribbean cruise, but I really do want to do one. And he's sort of on the fence.
I think the only way that I would do Antarctica is if it was part of another itinerary, like going around South America and it stops in but I don't think I would go there specifically to go to the Antarctic and come back.
Oh, really?
I don't think that I really want to see it that badly. I'd be happy to see stuff from a distance. I don't need to get into a Zodiac and go on the ice.
The other thing that I really think that I would like it about is that it's, obviously a unique spot to see that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to see. But again, it's one of those not overly touristy itineraries to go to, and so it'd be quite quaint and I think special. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what would the Penguins do if 7,000 people showed up on the Icon of the Seas?
Yeah. Right.
I don't even think there's enough penguins to hug them all.
You can't hug the penguins.
We can't hug the penguins?
Mm-hmm.
Who in Antarctica made that rule?
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to see.
Oh, the
What-
Hadley Coles are saying, look, they're kind of like you, like what you're talking about. We are on the Sapphire Princess from Buenos Aires, and it includes the Antarctic.
Buenos Aires,
Thank you.
including Antarctica.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's nice.
And they didn't even invite me. Although, to be fair, I believe they mentioned that to us the last time we saw them.
Okay.
And I remember thinking that, when is that? Because we have to go.
We would really like to do that.
Remember thinking it didn't really
Work with
our schedule.
your work.
Work with my work, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I need more time off.
Mm.
And
Nicole is saying, we hired a taxi for a day in St. John's, Newfoundland, saw cool sights, and kissed the cod. There you go. That's the other thing you have to do in order to get screeched in, kissing the cod.
I would be willing to bet that there's enough personality in just about every Newfoundlander that you could get a taxi driver that would be over the top, entertaining and wonderful. It'd be like your own personal, he'd be your best buddy. You'd probably go to his house. like that. That's how friendly people are out in the East Coast.
Okay.
But I think going by taxi in this situation would not be like a sterile, cold, it would be.
Right.
If
Come on, my boy, where do you want to go?
Yeah, exactly. Where are we going? Yeah, I've got to go pick up someone from the arena, but we'll do it on the way. That's what it would be like, I'm sure.
Okay, so Chris is saying Holland America's older ships were known for their cabins to be 25% larger than other cruise lines at the time. Oh, very good. So there you go. That's why it does feel much bigger. It's known.
There you go. That should
Not
be
just my impression.
We should capture that. We should get everybody online to agree, and we should all go to Holland America. Say, when you finally build the next new ship that you won't tell us about,
Yeah.
make it like this.
Right.
Bigger
for sure.
inside cabins, like an older classic ship. Do not build a mega monster.
All right.
Mhm.
So Craig has a question for you. Welcome, Craig. Recommendations for shore excursions in St. Thomas. Prefer historical and scenic tours.
Most of the St. John ones I think of
St. Thomas.
or St. Thomas ones I think of are all ones that are like water related.
Well, but like what we did the very first time we were there, and we liked it so much, we've done it a couple times, was we did do it. We shared a clubbed van with two other couples. So there were 6 of us, and we had a beautiful air-conditioned brand new vehicle, and we did a 3-hour island tour, and it included a lot of historical stops, some beautiful lookouts spots, and we had one place, we were there long enough that we could all have a drink at this little bar overlooking all of the island type thing. I really enjoyed that, and we learned a lot. We did a lot of sort of downtown in the more historical parts with it, so that was good. The other thing, if you want sort of like this great views, is going up the gondola that you keep trying to make me do again. That's kind of scary for me, but it's a beautiful spot.
Beautiful view up there, yeah.
And what is that called?
I can't remember what it's called up there. There's a nickname for that place up there, and you go up there, have a drink, and you enjoy the views. Mm-hmm. There's also a place that it's kind of like a restaurant bar type of resort area that they filmed one of the Love Boat episodes that you can go to, and I have yet to get to it, but there is that. That's kind of history.
That's kind of history.
Love Boat's history.
That's Jerry's history.
But yeah, not the older history of like the history of St. Thomas back in the days of discovery, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Kevin is saying, hello, Canucks. Just disembarked from the Caribbean Princess yesterday, wrapping up a voyage of the Glacier sailing. My second time on this ship this year, and I concur, one of my favorite cruise ships in the fleet. Yes, there's a lot of people that love that ship, for sure.
I say take the Star Princess, sell it to Royal Caribbean, and rebuild another Caribbean Princess. That's what I say.
Oh, funny.
Scott has a question for you.
Question, is Japan on your list to visit and cruise?
Another one that we've been asked a few times and we've discussed at length.
And I'm much more eager to do it than Jerry.
You seem to be more eager to do everything than me.
Yeah, I am much more willing to try things sort of out of my comfort zone and stuff that I've never done before, instead of doing the same thing over and over again, even though I have done that with the Caribbean because I love it. But I'm much more maybe adventurous to try a new thing, and Jerry's more cautious out of the two of us, and so he thinks about it and lets it percolate a lot longer than I do. Whereas I'd be like, "What? We want to do a group cruise in Japan? Yeah, let's do that." Okay, you can talk now.
I can talk now? I don't know. So here's my problem right off the bat with Japan. And my problem is it's a long ways away on an airplane. So that's my concern. I'd love to be able to like cruise there, like do like a over there and come back, but I know that's not realistic. Especially when a lot of times when they go there, they go up by Alaska and go through some pretty rough waters, to get there. But my other concern is I like the idea of going to Japan. I think it'd be really fascinating. I see some cruise itineraries like they're almost 2 weeks long and every single stop is Japan. So it must be a lot of ports to see.
Yeah.
I'm worried that my vision of Asia and Japan is that it's very busy and a lot of people. So will I be in cities with just tons and tons of people, or will I have a chance to kind of see is there a countryside? Like I know there's mountains but my fear is I just picture a sea of people. I don't know. I'm curious enough about it that I've considered it. Yeah, I'm a bit of a history buff too. There's some history over there that I'm really curious about through there in the Pacific. So
there you go.
So there you go.
We've got a few that are saying it.
And I see that you've got Steve Crystal there saying you should throw that in as a group cruise.
Yeah. We're in for it.
And I see that Paradise Point is the name of the
yes
gondola ride location that you go up to.
Yeah.
What's got you laughing now over there?
I'm reading Scott's comment. He says they have great chicken fingers in Japan.
What? First of all, how does Scott know this? Second of all, chickens don't have fingers. Third of all, it doesn't seem like an Asian meal.
I think you could probably get chicken feet.
I thought that was more of a mainland Asia thing.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I just remember Paul and Carol doing a video on when they were over touring in Asia. Yeah. And they tried chicken feet.
That's part of what scares me is kind of the food culture kind of scares me. Now, chicken fingers don't scare me, but some of that other stuff is a little scary.
There you go. Lisa's saying she will be sailing on the Star Princess on her transatlantic crossing in October. Hope it lives up to the hype. Wow.
Hopefully it sails on time.
Yeah.
We had actually considered that back in the day.
Yeah.
Of maybe booking that transatlantic specifically. And we were after the first experience of the Sun Princess being delayed that we thought, oh, maybe it's too risky. But I think it's on. I haven't heard anything other than the fact that it's on schedule and everything looks good. So hopefully that'll still happen as planned. Yeah. But yeah, and I'm interested to see. I'm sure they're going to change some things based on the feedback they've had. So these will have some interesting insight of what this newer version of the ship's looking like with Princess modifying a few things as well. And Brenda is saying that she'd love to cruise
Hawaii.
I don't know why I can't. Oh, there we go.
Hawaii to Sydney, Australia. We've talked about that too. I think it would be, quite a unique way to get to Australia. The downside is you got to fly back. That's a flight.
Although some itineraries,
we looked at it.
I think it's Bruce. Some people have found a itinerary that leaves out of North America, like California usually, and goes down and does Hawaii and goes to the South Pacific and back, even as far as Australia, some of them. It comes back to North America again.
And what is that? A 3-month cruise?
No, I think it's about 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking if it went that way, I think I could do it. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Well, that'd be a shame to be in Australia and just like hit a port or two and not actually see Australia if you go all that way."
Yeah, that's my fear.
But I'm happy with that.
Oh, are you?
If it saves me the flight.
I'd want to spend a little time, but yes.
At least it'll give me enough of a tease to think, is it going to be worth coming back on an airplane? I think that's kind of what cruising's like, is it kind of a buffet. You get to see where you might want to go in the world again.
Right.
And Andrea says,
have you looked at the Island Princess 50-day round trip from Fort Lauderdale in October of 2026? Ooh, there you go.
We have a secret announcement about a ship called Island something. One of our future lives in the next few weeks, you're going to be finding out about the Island Princess. So,
there you go.
Yeah, but and we actually, and the friends of ours are going to be on the Island Princess for a longer run later in the year as well. So I don't know if it's that one or not. I know it's a longer one. So.
Ken has a question.
Yeah.
That is truly uniquely to you.
Oh, yeah?
What is your favorite Love Boat episode?
Oh, my favorite Love Boat episode. Oh, it's such a tough one. Actually, you know what? For some reason, it comes back to one of the earlier questions. I think one of the ones I like, I think it was like a season premiere, and I think it was an extra long episode where they did part 1 and 2. It's when they left St. Thomas from that resort I was talking about, and you can see the Love Boat down there in the harbor of St. Thomas that we all know that have been there before, and they leave there and they go down to not Colombia, Venezuela. I forget what port it is. They go down to the ABC Islands. They go through the Panama Canal and they come back up. And what I loved about it is the fact that you could actually tell they actually did cruise that itinerary when they filmed it, because you can see all the different locations, everything else. So that's what I loved about Love Boat, especially when they did a lot of the filming on the ships, is they actually were cruising. It wasn't a studio version of, like some current cruise sitcoms we've seen that are all kind of made up. It was a real ship going to real spots with real people and real passengers in the background that happened to be there.
They did have a studio.
They did have a studio to film some stuff,
yes.
But I think
there was a lot of on location on a cruise ship filming.
Wouldn't that have been amazing to be on the Love Boat though, like as just a passenger and they're filming the show? Like I don't know if it would be a distraction or whether it would be interesting. I don't know. At the time, it might seem like a distraction, but looking back on it, it'd be an amazing opportunity. That's my long answer.
She is such a fan of Love Boat, isn't it? That's funny. All right.
And
54 days, Bruce is saying that it's out of LA.
That's the Island Princess. Yeah.
Christine is saying there's a 93-day round trip out of LA through Hawaii, Tahiti, Fiji, New Zealand, and Australia. There you go.
So that's 3 months.
Yeah, that's I think how long you need to do it to. That would give you plenty of time.
Just trying to think if I can get that much time off work or not.
Yeah, if your boss is watching right now, he's having a little bit of a panic attack right now. How do I have to tell Jerry no to that request?
Make a note in my phone. When I go to work tomorrow, ask for 90 days off. And have you guys cruised in Norway?
We have.
Claire is asking.
Yeah, unfortunately we haven't. But I'm seeing that Lisa's giving you a little bit of answer to your question down below it, but because we have not done Norway yet, so it's definitely on our list of wants, and I think we need to do it sooner than later, because I hear they're starting to put some restrictions or talk about restrictions to cruise ships being there. But yes, we would love to do Norway.
Enchanted Princess, Hanif says, has an itinerary. 14 days, Fort Lauderdale, ABC, and then back up through this August. Yeah. So yeah, I think when in my cruising career now, I'm kind of looking for a little bit more than just the 7-day run. So like all those funny little ones that are kind of unique itineraries here and there that are not 93 days long, but are still a couple of weeks that you can get off work. I think those are the golden cruising opportunities that are out there.
There you go.
For us non-retired people.
Right. Yeah, I'm in the retired world. I want to do the 93-day one. Yeah. He's not there with me yet. But yeah, it makes sense. But yes, I mean, we've done a lot. The majority of our cruising career has been, 1 week cruises, because that's what we could afford while raising children and working and paying mortgages and all those life responsibilities. But we're now having the freedom that we can do a little bit longer. So we're trying to do 14 days or 20 days or something like that. But
here's my question. If you're doing Holland America for 93 days, I'm not sure if it's a Princess or Holland America, but I know Holland does that. Yeah. Then how much would it cost to rent the cabana for 93 days?
Oh, there you go.
It could arguably be more than the cruise.
Oh, wow. You think
wouldn't that be an insane thing to think about, that your cabana is more than the actual cabin, food, and entertainment you pay for?
Maybe you don't get the cabana. Maybe it's not a need. I think often when we started cruising and booking the cabanas, it was on a 7-day run, obviously. That's all we were doing at the time. And so you're trying to get the most out of your vacation and relaxation time. And so paying for that little retreat thing was something special. But do you need it if you're on it for longer? And there'll be lots of, especially on a Holland America cruise where they're not overrun with people anyways.
Yeah. I almost suspect that Bruce might know that answer. So I'm hoping Bruce has that information, because I think he might have looked into it. And
people are saying when you cruise longer than 7 days, you have less kids on board, and we definitely find that. You're right, Nicole. There's a few people agreeing with you on that. The longer the cruise ship, the less children. Yeah, we just got off of Norwegian Pearl with the 12-day cruise, and there might have been 5 to 10 children there. There was like 2 families that had a few children with them each. That was about it. I don't think we saw more than that. So you're right. Whereas, we did the Conningsdam in July to Alaska in the heart of school vacation, and we had 590 something children, the captain announced on our embarkation day. It was overrun with children.
So Bruce is saying $500 per week for the cabana.
Okay.
So like on a 3-month cruise?
Yeah, do that math.
You're looking at like over $6,000. In Canadian dollars, that's like $10,000.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
For your cabana. Yeah.
You don't need a cabana.
I don't need a cabana.
I know we've gotten spoiled because we do love the cabanas, but maybe, that would be the one trip that you take without the cabana and just do it for your shorter ones.
And Gail is saying that 14 days is a challenge, if you have people that are still working, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, had a doctor, the favorite was Norwegian fjords. And we keep hearing Norwegian fjords is like, in a way, similar to Alaska and a little bit similar to Eastern Canada, kind of combined, but without the crowds. Like, it's not as busy as the cruise ports in Alaska.
Yes.
But more so than the East Canada.
Right.
So it's kind of a mix of those two.
Yeah, we really want to try it because I do think we would enjoy that itinerary for sure.
Yeah.
So, and I've only ever heard people say wonderful things about it. I've heard it's expensive out there, but it's been well worth it.
For sure. So we're 10 minutes over the hour, so I think we're good.
We are.
We're going to go, and thanks for joining us on our Q&A and asking all the questions. The time just flies.
No cabana for me. Just give me a hammock. What do you think?
There you go.
We are definitely team hammock people. Yeah, that's one thing Virgin Cruise Lines taught us was the hammocks are phenomenal.
The only thing they taught us. Maybe the bar tab. Anyways.
He'll keep going. He can go a whole other hour now.
So thanks, everybody. Have a great Sunday.
Yes, and thanks to all the people that this is their first time joining in. Welcome, and thanks for coming. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already done that. It helps us out a little bit. It helps us to keep this channel growing.
For sure. And if you liked it and you want to see us again, then we're back in 2 weeks' time. So we're going every other week until we get back to September. And we're going to have the next couple of lives. That'll be the next one after that. We are announcing our next cruise that we're going to be on later this summer. We are cruising again before summer's done.
We are.
So we're excited. We're almost there. I get to have another haircut before then, but it's almost time.
Bye for now. Have a great week, everyone.
Take care, everybody.